It's that time of year again, guys. You're back looking for the best 3D printer of 2024, hopefully to make your holiday shopping season just a little bit easier. Through this video, I'm gonna be covering a multitude of 3D printers that I've been fortunate enough to test throughout the year and giving you my feedback and what I recommend. We're gonna be looking at some of the lower end budget 3D printers to get you started, or if you're just in the market for a new printer and you're wondering what's good and what's not, we're gonna talk about all of those too. So let's just jump right into it. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Frank. I've been 3D printing for about 6 years now, and I think I have some pretty good input on the types of 3D printers you should be looking at, which ones work, which ones don't. So like I said in the beginning, we're gonna be talking about and starting with those budget entry-level printers. You're just looking to get your kids your first printer, or maybe yourself, you're just looking to break into the hobby. So I have a couple recommendations that will help you get started there. And then we're gonna stop worrying about budget as much as we move up. We're gonna start looking at things like speed and reliability versus just size and build volume. Maybe you're not as concerned about speed, you want a larger printer, something like the K1 Max, for example. So we're gonna start moving up the tier and ladder in that respect. And then finally, we'll kind of close out with the big printers that really, you're not worried about the budget, you just want the best one you could get for the hobbyist. You know, you don't need some industrial size, garage size 3D printer. And then at the end, some honorable mentions, ones that are like specific use cases that if you're in the hobby or perusing and Googling stuff, you might have heard about, but you might wonder why I didn't mention them throughout the video. So let's just get started with the budget level entry 3D printers. So as we start in the lower budget 3D printers, I want to obviously mention an elephant in the room. Where are my Iron Man suits? Don't worry about it. You shouldn't ask questions. I'm on to you. No, but seriously, you will see that I don't have a lot of 3D printers in front of me. I used to collect a variety of 3D printers like Pokemon cards, but I don't really have the space for that right now, and it was getting a little bit out of hand. So I am gonna be talking about printers that I don't currently have in front of me, but 99% of them I have gotten my hands on, tested through various review videos, and the point of this video is to just point you in the right direction, to give you my recommendation and be like, oh, hey, he talked about the Bambu A1, he seems to like it, let me do a little bit more research on it, and then you go look at dedicated review videos. So that's the point of this. So I will be talking about some machines that aren't here. I will display them. If I have my own review video, I'll link it down below, or at least point you to somebody whose opinion I also trust. But that's enough rambling. My lowest and cheapest 3D printer recommendation to just get into the hobby, get started, is going to be the Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro. Now immediately, some of you might be asking, what about the Neptune 4 Pro? I'm gonna say it right here at the beginning of the video. I do not recommend the Neptune 4 series printers. They have firmware issues. Though some people say they've improved them and upgraded them, I still don't trust them. I'm still getting mixed reviews and mixed feedback from across the community. I'm just gonna recommend the Neptune 3 Pro because it works out of box, it's easy to set up, and it's only $160 right now. It is the bare bones basis of what you need to just get started. However, if you're not an Elegoo fan and you wanna spend an extra $10, you can move over to the Creality Ender 3 V3 SE. Creality, you have way too many Enders on the series. Kill some of the lines, please. Like, it's getting ridiculous. In terms of long-term reliability, the Creality Ender 3 V3 SE will outperform the Neptune 3 in the long term. The quality of the Neptune 3 Pro will fall off over time without proper maintenance. So if you just want something that's a little bit easier to use and just a little bit more reliable, the Ender 3 V3 SE, my God. Both of those machines have a build volume of about 220 by 220 by like 230. It's right here on the screen. So it's about this size build. It's not the largest printer in the world. You can't do things like full-size helmets on it, but you can print things in pieces. And again, it's gonna get the job done and get your feet wet. And they build in a couple minutes out of box and they're super easy to use. Now, moving up from there, we're actually gonna go up in price just a little bit and increase our reliability and ease of use, but the size of the printer is gonna shrink. This is the smallest printer I'm gonna recommend. It is actually the Bambu A1 Mini. Sitting at $199, this is probably the most reliable printer in this category. It is amazing, but it is rather tiny. So if you're just looking to print little desktop knickknacks and little collectibles, this is gonna be the printer for you. Or if you just don't want it to take up too much space, or you wanna test it out with your kids, but you don't have a lot of time to fuss with printers, the A1 Mini is amazing. We will be talking about the A1 in a little bit, but it's a little more expensive. The cool thing about the A1 Mini and the A1, eventually, if you want to, you can upgrade it with the AMS light system. This is a multi-material, multi-color add-on. I do not know the price of this one. It's right here on the screen, but this lets you print up to 4 colors at once on the A1 and A1 Mini. So you can do multi-color and multi-material prints. So you don't need to get it right away with the bundle, but it's an add-on you can get later. Now, moving back up in size and actually staying at that $199 price range is actually a printer I haven't talked about in a while because I didn't know it was this cheap. I'm talking about the FLSun Super Racer. And if you saw my best printer of 2023 video, or you've been watching my videos for a little bit, you know I love this printer. It is a workhorse. I don't know when FLSun just came out of the blue and started getting this good, but this is a beautiful printer, and it used to be upwards of $400 to $500. Now you can snag it for $199, and it isn't a bed slinger, a type of 3D printer that moves back and forth. It is a Delta style 3D printer where it's just really tall. Here's a photo of it. It's super cool to watch, super easy to set up, and really, really fast. It's actually gonna be the fastest printer in this whole category, which is really saying something. So this is absolutely a printer I would recommend if none of these other ones seem appealing to you. It has the second largest build volume, but I love what FLSun's been doing lately. They are a little bit further on the list, but for $200 to get the Super Racer, you really can't go wrong. It is an awesome machine. So if you have cats, be wary that, any 3D printer, there's a lot of moving parts, stay safe. And the final one on the lower end of the budget list is coming in at $229, just over that $200 price range. And this is the Elegoo Neptune 3 Plus. This is a bigger version of the Elegoo Neptune 3 that can actually do full-size helmets. It's about 300 cubed. I think it's like 310 by 310 by 320, but this is gonna be a large printer. It's not gonna be necessarily fast, but if you're looking to start breaking into cosplay and props without breaking the bank, the Neptune 3 Plus is absolutely going to be a wonderful option for that. You can start printing larger helmets and cosplay prop pieces without absolutely breaking the bank. I had this machine for quite a while. You guys saw it in many videos, and I will never not recommend it until Elegoo actually puts out the Neptune 5 and fixes the problems with the 4. So all 5 of those printers have little pros and cons, obviously. You're gonna get more reliability, but get a little smaller. You're gonna increase in size, but you're gonna lose speed. So hopefully that made sense with breaking everything down on the pros and cons of everything and which ones you might lean towards. Now, there is gonna be one honorable mention in this category, and that is sitting right here. This is the Anycubic Cobra 3. It has the ACE system, the add-on filament system. This isn't one I can necessarily recommend yet because I just got it. I just began testing this machine. The build quality of it is rather good. It is well constructed, but it is not a high-speed printer, so it's not gonna be as fast as the A1 or the A1 Mini, and it isn't as big as something like the Neptune 3 Plus. It is, however, the same size as all of the Bambu printers, which is pretty neat, but I just don't know quite enough about it. I've been seeing mixed reviews on it. So if this does seem appealing, it's a medium to small size 3D printer. The Cobra 3, it was easy to set up. So far the prints are good, but I just can't quite recommend it just yet. And because it sits at $249 by itself, it's hard to argue against just adding an extra $50 and moving into our next category with probably one of the best printers on this entire list or video, and we'll actually get into that next. So now we're moving into that medium to mid-size budget. You're not looking for the bottom of the barrel printers, not that that's bad, everybody has different amounts of money, but you're like, hey, I can spend a couple $100, maybe you want a PS5 or a game console, or maybe you want a 3D printer. That's the category we're looking at now. And this is where we're gonna start diverging into 2 different focuses, speed and size. Now, I don't have any printers on this list that don't have reliability. If they weren't reliable, I wouldn't be recommending them to you. So I'm not, speed and reliability, blah, blah, blah. They're all reliable, but we're gonna go with speed and size. And hey, the reason I said let's add that extra $50 to the Anycubic Cobra 3 and go to $299 is because the Bambu A1 exists. This is arguably the best bed slinger on the market around this price point. I mean, you could argue the Prusa Mark IV is definitely up there, but it's an $800 to $1,000 printer that you sometimes need to assemble. This is a 99% built out of box. For $299, there is no better bed slinger on the market. This thing is incredible. And it is currently on sale for Black Friday and the holiday season, and hopefully it just kind of stays that price because it's awesome. And just like the A1 Mini, this also accepts that AMS light system, so you can do multicolor printing, and it's just awesome. Now we're gonna jump up another like $200 because I couldn't really find anything that was in the $300 to $400 price range that made sense, because again, this thing was usually the $400 one, but now it's only $300. So we're gonna go up to $549 currently. And that is my absolute favorite 3D printer, the Bambu P1S. There is no better Core XY enclosed. You just need the best printer you can get right now, aside from like the X1 Carbon or some of the Crealities. This is it. This is the price of a game console now. $549. It's enclosed, it is a Core XY, it is easy. This is how it comes out of the box, all set up and ready to use. You can then add on the AMS system, just like the AMS Lite. You don't need to get this right away. You can get it afterwards. That's totally fine. But sitting at $549 right now, if you have the money for it and you're like, I just want a 3D printer that works, that is fast, the P1S is faster than this, it's a Core XY, and it already comes enclosed, this is the printer to get. Yes, Bambu in this price range is sweeping this because there is no better options for that mid $300 to $500 price range than these, except FLSun. So this is gonna be the first printer I actually haven't got my own hands on, but after looking into it, watching some of my own review videos and talking to some of my friends and other colleagues in this space on the reliability of it, I can't not bring it up. I'm talking about the FLSun T1 Pro, not the normal T1. Now for some good review videos on this, I was actually looking at Loyal Moses's experiences with the T1 and the T1 Pro. The biggest issue he had with the T1 was some little, I think it was little firmware issues, and it was really loud. And then the T1 Pro fixed a lot of those issues, and it is just one of FLSun's really good printers. The FLSun Super Racer that I recommended for $199 is a much older machine. I think it's pushing like three and a half years old now. And now the T1 series and the S1 series are the new kids on the block. And after watching some videos on the T1 Pro, it's pretty good. And it's going to be bigger than the FLSun Super Racer, so it's a larger build volume. It's all enclosed. The spool sits on the top, and I'll try to include some B-roll of here of either his video or some of the stock stuff that FLSun has on their website. But for $499, $599, $599, I have it on my screen over there. That's a really good machine, and he's been getting some really awesome prints out of it, and it is just a fast, awesome printer that doesn't take up a lot of space. It's large, but it's taller than it is, wide. So it is not a bad machine at all. So if you're, not sold on the A1 or the size of it, or for some reason you don't want the P1S, I don't really know why you wouldn't, you can look into the FLSun T1 Pro. Now we're gonna switch from the reliability of this category and we're gonna move over more to the size. And unfortunately, the three printers I'm gonna recommend in this category, I no longer have, but I have owned all three of them at one point or another and done a review video on actually all two of them. One of them I never actually got around to making a video for because I kind of got rid of the printer and things happen. But again, this is gonna be that mid-price range printer. You're okay spending a little bit of money and you want something that's going to be able to print larger stuff. First up, sitting at a ridiculous price of only $329 is the Elegoo Neptune 3 Max. The price point you have on these Elegoo printers really can't be beat for the size you're getting. No, they are not as fast as the Bambus. No, they're not as crazy, over-engineered as some of the other printers we're gonna talk about here, not like the FLSuns or anything like that, but they are just big, cheap printers if you wanna print big stuff. And the fact that the Neptune 3 Max is under $400 for the build volume and size you get is ridiculous. I have absolutely put this printer up against other machines like the Neptune 4 Max, the CR10, the CRM4, and it can hold its own. So if you want one of the biggest build volumes for under $500, or actually, I think it's the largest build volume for under $500 if I'm not crazy, get the Neptune 3 Max. It's slow, it's big, but it can pump out really big prints. Now, next up, it isn't quite as big as the Neptune 3 Max, but it is going to be that 300-ish cubed build volume, and that is the Ender 3 V3 Plus. I do have a dedicated review video on that machine, and it is very fast. I actually consider it a larger Bambu A1. It's not quite as high quality as the A1 can produce, but it's pretty close, especially for Creality. It is a fast, large printer. I think it's 300 or 310 cubed. I'll have it right down here, but I really liked the V3 Plus. It uses the same firmware and interface and kind of build system as the Creality K1 series, the K1, K1C, K1 Max. Very easy to use, very easy to set up, and I had it just pumping out prints for me right out of the box. So this is going to be a much faster, more reliable printer than the Neptune 3 Plus, but you're gonna add $50 to it, which really isn't a bad deal. And the final printer in this larger mid-budget range is actually going to be the FLSun V400. While a little bit older than the T1 Pro I was talking about before, it is bigger. It does boast a wider cylinder base and it does print higher, though it is an open air printer. It doesn't have an enclosure, but because of the size of it, it is a monster. It's gonna be tall. It is $549, which is still a steal for the speed that printer can do. It is the fastest printer on this list. Actually, yeah, that kind of went up. It was the 3 Max and then the V3 Plus, which is fast, but the FLSun V400 is absolutely the fastest in this range, but you're also getting a very large build volume and size. So if you just want fast and large, and you can do the 549, I would absolutely recommend the V400 still. I really loved mine, and it was very easy to use. It's actually kind of crazy that it's the same price as the P1S. I guess those would be the two competitions. You have the P1S for the Core XY in speed, but it's smaller, but then you have the bigger V400, which is non-enclosed, but yeah, it's actually, that'd probably make a good video. The P1S versus the V400. Do I still have mine? Where is it? Anyway, moving on. Actually, before we move into the higher priced printers, there is one honorable mention in this category, and that is going to be the Sovol SV08. I have not particularly talked about Sovol up until this point because my experiences with them have started out good, but unfortunately fallen off. They're good printers out of the box, but their quality seems to fall off a cliff very, very quickly. And after testing some machines like the SV06, the SV06 Plus, I just wasn't impressed. And it's hard to say, hey, get this printer you need to fight with and calibrate for the same price as something like the A1 or Neptune 3 Plus. So while I can't really recommend any in particular, there are people talking and raving about the SV08, which is a printer you have to kind of build. It says quick hour assembly. That's not the case at all. My buddy Saturday Morning Props has been keeping me updated on all of his experiences with the SV08. So I would definitely go maybe check him out, or definitely do your research on the SV08. There seem to be some leveling issues, and it just isn't as out of box as it should be in modern times with printers like this that you can get. But I just had to mention it because I know if I don't, somebody's gonna yell at me at the comments, even though all of you are probably screaming at me already. You're talking about Bambu too much. Yeah, because they're good. Anyway, moving on. So now it's time to talk about the big boys. I love this thing. Money isn't really an option. No, I'm not talking about you're here looking to spend $10,000 on a printer. There really isn't any good ones I'd recommend anyway. But you're like, Frank, what are the best 3D printers? What should I get? I just want it. So first, let's talk about the two printers that probably come up on every single Google search you've done when best 3D printer. It's gonna either be the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon or the Prusa Mark IV.
Hey guys, quick note, I made a mistake here. The testing I had been doing throughout the year and the printer I am showing in this video is actually just the Prusa Mark IV. There is the new Prusa Mark IV-S in the market, and that's the prices I am showing and reflecting. It is an upgraded version of the Prusa Mark IV, and after seeing it at Formnext, it prints even better than the original Mark IV. So if you are considering this machine, it is definitely going to be a viable option. I'm confident you will not be disappointed in it, but know that in this video, I'm actually talking about the Prusa Mark IV, though the prices I'm showing are for the Mark IV-S. Hope that made sense. Sorry for the error. Let's keep going.
Both these printers are amazing. The Prusa Mark IV here sits at $799, or you can get it pre-assembled for $1,099. It literally comes like this. You pick it up out of the box, and then you attach this thing, and it does its own calibration, and you're off to the races. Or for the $800, you do have to build and calibrate it, but it's pretty easy to do. I don't think any company has better instructions on the market than Prusa. Their instruction booklets are like this thick and very detailed. They treat you like an idiot for good reasons, because man, there's a lot to mess up when it comes to building 3D printers. But, and some of you already know where I'm going with this, it's very hard to recommend something like the Mark IV, which its quality is amazing. Prusa's still put out amazing reliability, their quality is great, but they're not high-speed printers, though they print pretty quick, especially still compared to today's standards. The Bambu X1 Carbon is just, it's everything you need. Now, for most of you, for 99% of you watching this video, this thing is overkill, and I will take that to my grave. The Bambu P1S can do just as good print quality as this thing. I have 4 X1 Carbons and I have 4 P1Ss, and the prints look the same. Go ahead, fight me in the comments. It's because I'm printing simple filaments. I'm printing PLAs, PLA pluses, a little bit PETGs. I'm printing the basic materials. If you are looking for engineer grade printing, and you're looking for nylons and carbon fibers, and you need those precision parts, you need that AI camera, you need the print monitoring, you want the touchscreen on the front for some reason because your phone does everything anyway, look into the X1 Carbon. But I can guarantee you, for most of you, this thing is gonna be overkill. However, if you never wanna have to upgrade anything, you just want the best printer on the market right now, in my opinion, it's gonna be the X1 Carbon, because You're not gonna need to upgrade the nozzle. It has the AI cameras, it has a good user interface, it's all just nicely built. And just like the P1S or the P1P, you can add on the AMS system later on, so you can still get this printer right now for $999. It's the first time it's been under $1,000. Yes, $1 under $1,000 is still under $1,000. But if you came to this video because somebody recommended the X1 or heard about it, definitely take that into consideration, because you can pretty much get 2 P1Ss for the price of an X1 and just double your production. My P1Ss are just as reliable as my X1s. But again, if you're looking for that engineering grade, you're doing car parts, you're doing something that just needs those better materials right out of box, the X1 Carbon, there's really no question about it. But if for some reason you're a Bambu hater, you have the Prusa Mark IV. I had 3 of these at one point. They are beautiful, reliable, and the prints are gorgeous. However, it isn't enclosed and it is not as quick, and it doesn't have the same monitoring systems that the X1 has. But I know if I didn't mention the Mark IV again, me in the comments with your grabbing your fingers, I don't wanna hear it. Make your own video. So moving away from that speed, let's talk about size. And actually, we're still kind of talking about speed. In this category, we're kind of only talking about 2 machines, and they're both Creality, because no one else except one brand I'll talk about after this is making Core XYs this big. I know you're probably in the same boat as I am. I've been waiting for Bambu to release a larger Core XY printer for quite a while now. We thought it was gonna come out Q4 of 2024. Well, guess what? Now they're saying Q1 of 2025, and I go to Formnext Germany. I actually have been there by the time this video comes out. Maybe they're gonna reveal their new printer. I heard murmurs that it's supposed to compete with the Creality K2, but we'll see. But let's talk about the printers in front of me. We have the Creality K1 Max, and the brand new, yet to be released, Creality K2 Plus. Why the Max is smaller than the Plus, I don't know. Creality, they be doing things. The Creality K1 Max sitting at $719 currently on sale. I have 4 of these printers. They absolutely pump out prints for my Etsy shop, and they have been mostly reliable. There are some clogs occasionally. Clogs are easy to fix. I haven't had really any crazy print failures that like, oh my God, it's a catastrophic meltdown that I can't handle because, you know, I've been 3D printing for however long. The K1 Maxes, I love them. They are 350 by, no, they're 300 cubed exactly, kidding. 300 cubed, they can do full helmets. It can do full size, you know, pieces for cosplay, and it is a Core XY fast printer. And it has a hardened nozzle, so you can do those harder abrasive materials. I run glow in the dark through this thing all the time. It's wonderful. It's not quite as fast as a Bambu, but it's pretty close. It's not as good quality as a Bambu, but it's pretty close, and most people aren't gonna notice the difference. This is just a good big printer for under $800, and if you just want a big printer that does big things fast, this is it. But now you have its bigger, older, younger brother. The K2 Plus, this is 350 cubed. This printer is massive. I have no idea how this table is holding it up, and if it collapses, I'm also gonna lose my X1 Carbon sitting under it. I am nervous. This thing doesn't start shipping till December 8th. I have been testing it. By the time this video comes out, I will have released my K2 Plus review. Should have been the week prior to this. It should literally be the most recent video behind this thing. So if you are interested in the K2 Plus, definitely go watch that video, because I have some mixed feelings on it, but it delivers. It prints just as good, if not just a little bit better than the K1 Max. It's a little bit larger. There's still some stuff they have to work out, and I will have explained that in that review video, but it's sitting at $1299 currently. This is pretty expensive for a 3D printer by Creality. Hopefully one day it comes down, but it is a big build volume. It has 2 AI cameras, one to watch the flow calibration and one to watch your print. Great user interface, the exact same user interface as the K1 Max and the K1s and the V3s. It works. It has a heated chamber. If you know you need that, then you'll know why that's important. If you're doing certain materials, ABSs, it's a good printer. Creality delivered on this thing, and Bambu needs to respond very quickly. The other cool thing about the K2 Plus is eventually, if you want to, you can add Creality's new filament system, the CFS, the Creality filament system. This is the Bambu Lab AMS, but better. And again, go watch that video, but they actually took the AMS and improved it and made it a little bit more reliable. I feel like they could have made it a little bit bigger and done 5 colors. I think Sam Prentice kind of gave me that idea, because he's right. They could have just made this bigger and added an extra spool, but whatever. If you get it with the CFS system, I believe it's $1499, $1,500 on sale. That's expensive. But if you think that a 300 cubed Core XY printer isn't big enough for you for some reason, you have the K2 Plus as an option. Just by itself, it is a large printer. It has worked pretty flawlessly for me out of the box, except just for some small issues that I think Creality is improving on, but this is definitely a contender, and it's hopefully gonna press Bambu to release a printer. I will say real quick though, I do not expect whatever Bambu releases to compete with either of these to be under $1,500. There's absolutely no way. I'm thinking bare minimum $1,600, but we'll see. Whatever weird issues or gripes I had with the K1 Max have seemed to be fixed in the K2 Plus. And if this thing is starting to tickle your fancy, definitely go watch that review video. I like it. It actually did print this multicolor Iron Man helmet in one shot, which no other Creality printer has been able to do because of the multicolor system. So yeah, it's a pretty neat machine. Now, an honorable mention for this size is going to be the Chitty-Tech X4 Plus 4, this thing. A lot of you are asking why I didn't include it in my Black Friday sale video. I use the Chitty-Tech X3 Plus Max thing. It broke immediately. The main board jumped off a cliff. They sent me replacement parts. Those didn't work. I had nothing but problems with that Chitty-Tech. If you go and watch Galactic Armory, you'll know we actually switched positions on this. He had a K1 Max and didn't like it, and he loved this Chitty 3 Plus whatever. I haven't had that luck. So Chitty-Tech did not send me a 4 Plus. Maybe there was an email I missed. Haven't been able to test it, and I've been seeing some mixed reviews on it. And if you Google or YouTube search that printer, a lot of the videos pop up involve it smoking or having some weird hardware issues. Chitty-Tech is addressing it, but that's not great. So if you're interested in that printer, go definitely check out some review videos, but I can't really recommend it right now just after some quick research and some of the problems people have had. And then these two things exist on the market anyway, so I mean, why not? I thought I was done, but I'm not. There is a second honorable mention, and this is a printer I do have. I'm talking about the FLSun S1. This is a $1,500 printer. It is FLSun's flagship, highest expensive machine right now, and it's pretty cool when it decides to work. I am not bringing it in here. This is almost a 70-pound machine. That FLSun S1 weighs more. It is a nightmare to move around. It is tall, heavy, awkward. The handles aren't in the right spot, so I'm not dragging it. Here's some B-roll of it sitting in the other room collecting dust because it just fights me every step of the way. You can't update the firmware immediately out of box. You have to use the USB drive. The leveling system doesn't seem to work. The AI just freaks out, and to the point where FLSun has asked people to just turn off the AI function until they can sort it out. They released it too soon. They sent out tester units. I don't know what happened with those. I had one. The feedback didn't work. It's not a machine I can recommend right now, but it looks like it could be amazing. It is a huge build volume. It is a really well-built printer. It looks like it has all the features to make it good. It just isn't working. And I'm still trying to get good prints off of it. I'm still trying to get it to be reliable and work, but it's just acting weird, man. So this is gonna bring us towards the end of the video. We're gonna consider this honorable mention / really specific use case machines that I can recommend if you're looking for that type of machine, not just like all willy-nilly, hey, pay $5,000 for a machine because I said so. First is the Creality K2 Plus with the CFS system. Like I was saying before, that if you aren't worried about the size difference between the K1 Max and the K2 Plus, if you're okay with that little disparity in terms of size, the 50 cube that you're losing, just do the K1 Max or just the standard K2 Plus. But being able to multi-material or multicolor print at this size, it's incredible. So you get the CFS system. So this is a $1,500 setup currently if you order it on the website, and it can do multicolor prints, just like the Bambus, just like the Anycubic Cobra with the Ace, whatever. It's a really good printer if you want large multicolor prints. If you aren't worried about the multicolor prints and you're okay with the K1 Max, well, just get that. It's $719. So if you want to start doing large multicolor prints and really putting the size to the test, it's a really great use case for it. I still recommend it. The CFS system has been working really, really well so far, so I got no complaints there. And the opposite side of that is the Prusa XL, and this printer's odd. By itself, with just the one color tool head changer, the one tool head on it, it sits at $1,999 semi-assembled, or you get the mostly pre-assembled version for $2,500. This is a very large Prusa. It's very fast. It's a Core XY. It is a really cool machine, but for $2,000 to $2,500, you can get the K1 Max. Actually, you can get the K2 Plus, which is enclosed, which has a heated chamber if you only want that one color. Well, if you also want to do multicolor, then you can go and get the CFS, which makes this $1,500, which is still $500 cheaper than the Prusa. The Prusa has proven more reliable in terms of their brand name than Creality. However, I have been having problems with my Prusa XL. I really don't want to troubleshoot that. That's annoying. It should work out of box, especially for $2,500 to $4,500. So that's really putting me off to this machine right now. But when it works really good. So I think it's just, I don't know really what to say about the Prusa XL. I want to love it, but I'm just running into these weird issues right now that I just can't quite say, oh, this is perfect, especially if you're only gonna do the one color or the one tool head, just get the K2 Plus. However, we're talking about use case here. The 5-color changer, 5-tool head changer is amazing. This is what makes this printer worth it. If you're gonna go all the way out and you're gonna spend the $4,000 or $4,500 for the pre-assembled 5-tool changer, this thing's awesome. It does one more color than any other printer on the market, and it doesn't poop. And by poop, I mean the waste that's produced by the filament changes and purges in the K2 Plus, in the X1 Carbon, in the P1S, in the Anycubic Cobra with the ACE system. The printers have waste because they need to purge the nozzle to swap the color out, or you get bleeding and all of this stuff. So you use a lot of filament when doing multi-color prints. Unless you just have multiple nozzles, each dedicated to a color, there's zero waste except for the prime tower, which is negligible when you're considering that you're wasting a roll or more of filament just in filament changes and purges. So if you want a machine that can do multicolor and not produce as much waste and do it better, honestly, that's when I would recommend the Prusa XL. I don't think Prusa is not going to address the issues I've been having and other people have been having. It's gonna work. It's their first iteration of it. It's going to work eventually. Their support is second to none, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just currently having some issues with this particular unit. I still wouldn't stray away from it if you want that 5-color changer system. It's a really cool machine, and watching it work and print it's therapeutic. It's really awesome. And the last printer I'm gonna talk about in this whole list is the Elegoo OrangeStorm Giga. I have 2 videos on that, one where I was very excited to build it and test it out, and another video where, well, it started to reveal its cracks. Unfortunately, this printer is just recently or just about to ship for pre-order. It is a $2,500 printer, 800 by 800 by 1,000 millimeters. This printer is huge. You have to move it into a room, build it. You can't, does not fit through a doorway. You can go look at my videos on it. I have mixed feelings about it. Elegoo did release it a little bit too soon. There are problems with it. They have rectified some of those problems. And now there's people releasing third-party kits for it. Add-ons, new beds, new hot ends, updated firmware. Just like the 3D printer community used to do, we're making that product better. So if you want the biggest printer you can get for under $10,000 right now, get the OrangeStorm Giga. You're just gonna need to put extra money into it. I still think with all the upgrades and fights that you have to do with it, you could stay under $4,000 with it, and then you just have a massive printer. You can follow 3D Printing Nerd's journey with his, you can follow Uncle Jesse's journey with his. Eventually when I get mine built again, I'm gonna crack back into it. It's a really cool printer, but it does need work. But just getting that base, getting that frame, getting the heating system, getting all of that for $2,500. I mean, the Prusa XL is $2,500, and you can get a printer that can print Danny DeVito if you wanted it to. So I couldn't not mention that printer if you're just looking for a absolutely gargantuan, massive 3D printer, but just know you're gonna need to put some work into it. Definitely join the Facebook group to see how the first testers and users are experiencing with it. Some people's are working flawlessly. Mine had a little bit of issues. So, you know, tomato, potato. But that's gonna do it for the specific, you know, high-end use case machines. And how is this table still standing? So in closing, guys, I hope this helped you figure out what 3D printers you might be looking at this holiday season, and then using this to cross-reference some Black Friday deals and just some other review videos. And I hope everything I talked about in this video made sense to you. If you guys are interested in any of these machines, they're all linked down below with some other helpful resources, a guide to start you in the 3D printing journey so you can better understand how to get started, and just some other videos I think would just be beneficial if this is your first time diving into the hobby. If you guys like what you saw, please consider subscribing to the channel. 2025 is going to be absolutely wild with some upcoming projects, and I'm very excited. And also, if you're looking for some final little stocking stuffers for the holidays, please consider checking out my Etsy shop. It absolutely helps support the channel. I got devil fruits and flexi rexis and just some really fun, cool stuff on there that you might be interested in. And then it just helps, you know, helps me keep the lights on. So go check it out. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about anything you saw in the video, leave some comments down below. I read all of them, and I will do my best to respond to as many as possible. But I'm sure this video was already long enough, and you guys want to start shopping and order your first 3D printer so you can start printing adorable little knickknacks like you over here. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. You have a good day. It still boggles my mind that this table is still, I'm in danger.